everybody's talking about get your free $125, and just the larger number of people that sign up to get a piece of that pie, the less pie is going to be available for everybody else.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Zach's Credit Card Guide. As you saw in the intro there, we're doing a recap on last week's video where we're talking about the Equifax data breach settlement and what the new updates might mean for you. If you are new to the channel, we do a lot of credit card topics, card reviews, and redemptions, so make sure to hit that subscribe button, but let's get started. So guys, like I predicted last week, I saw this coming a mile away, and I'm not saying I'm the only one. A lot of people figured this might happen, but this is immediately what I thought was going to happen when I read about the data breach settlement and what the options are. So again, if you didn't watch last week's video, I'll put a card right there for you. Go check that out, but I'm sure you've heard about this already, that Equifax had a data breach a couple years ago, and they finally reached a settlement with the FTC where they need to compensate everybody that was affected. Now, there is a large pool of money that is set aside for different aspects of handling this situation. They set aside about $30 million for these $125 payouts that everybody's talking about. And then there are other pots of money for other things, like if you spent additional time dealing with this, for people who can actually demonstrate actual damages, there's a different pot of money for that as well. But the blogosphere was running around saying if you fill out this website, you get $125. Now, like I predicted last week, that basically depends on how many people apply, because that pot of money is finite. It has a limit. It is $31 million. So just simple math, the more people that apply for that, there is a smaller amount available for you to actually claim. And that's exactly what has happened. The FTC has said millions of people have gone on here to file this $125 claim. When if you do the math, it only comes out to, I think it's about 250,000 people could go for that 31 million and get the advertised $125. So no one is quite saying exactly how many people have applied. I think that's just because it's growing every single day. So no one really knows what it's going to be, but the FTC has said people will get nowhere near $125. Now, those who have already filed claims, you should be seeing an email in the not so distant future from the administrator who's handling this mess and probably making a boatload of money doing it, giving you the choice to switch to the credit monitoring option that is available. Now, that is 10 years of monitoring, and for the first 4 years, there's a $1 million insurance policy should anything happen with your credit. Now, everybody, including the FTC and Equifax, are spinning this, saying, well, the retail value of that is much higher, so you should probably choose that anyway. Now, we're going into speculation time. I'm not basing this on anything other than just what I think, so these opinions are entirely my own. I think they saw this coming. It doesn't take a particularly bright individual to say, either we give people cold hard cash, or this mysterious thing that just kind of happens in the background. It's insurance, and not everybody values insurance. I think it was easily foreseen that given that option, a lot of people are just going to take the cash, especially with how prevalent and heavily advertised free monitoring options are, like Credit Karma and those other things that comes on a lot of credit cards where there's a built-in credit monitoring function. Now, the value of them and how extensive they are, of course, varies depending on what you have, but what I'm saying is a lot of people have this covered, and they're actually covered at least to the level that their risk is really at, because while it does happen, not everybody will experience identity theft at any point in their lifetime. So again, what I'm saying is they should have seen this coming. A lot of people are covered already. And I think they did. Now, call me a cynic, but I have to imagine there's a lot of bright, intelligent people who had to figure this out on both sides, the FTC and Equifax. And I think they saw this coming. I personally think that the credit monitoring option is probably much cheaper for Equifax to administer, and that $1 million insurance is an insurance policy. So they're going to make money on that too. That's the whole point of insurance, is they make sure that they win more than they lose. I think it's actually going to cost Equifax a lot less per person than this $125. I think that's just what they would have tried to negotiate the hardest. If you're going to look at, hey, we have to give two options. We either have to give people cash or give them this service. Whichever of those is cheaper for the company, they would have pushed hard for in their negotiations with the FTC. That, I think, is just basic common sense. So I think that was always the goal, is they decided, hey, we're just going to make it $31 million, and whoever picks that, and it's just going to be evenly divided. So they knew what that risk was. And then this, what I believe is probably and most logically the cheaper option for them, they offered up as, here's what you can take. So hey, we couldn't protect your data the first time, but hey, trust us, we'll really watch it for the next 10 years. Come on, man. Now, what I'm going to do, on principle, I would like to stay with the payment option. I don't know why, even though I know it's probably only going to be $5 or maybe even less at this point. I don't know why, but I want to stick with that option, even though I know it's going to be much lower. And I don't know why. I think it's a little emotional thing. I just have a hard time with this idea that I don't think Equifax is really being penalized for their negligence in not making sure that their systems are as tough to breach as possible. Because again, you don't have a choice to deal with them. So Capital One had a similar thing happen here recently where their systems were hacked. Now you have a choice to deal with Capital One. You make that affirmative choice to do business with them. So while it's not your fault, at least it's kind of what you signed up for. Equifax and the other bureaus, you don't have a choice. They're really the only company on the planet that gets all of your information and sells it, that's how they make money, without your consent or knowledge or anything else. Now, of course, it might be buried in terms and conditions somewhere, but the point is they do this without you really having a say in it. And to think that they can do this and kind of get away with a slap on the wrist, and then really your only recourse is, hey, let us do what we screwed up the first time for you for 10 years, I don't really see that as a good choice, but it seems like what we're stuck with. So when the people who have filed these claims, if you get an email that says, do you want to switch over to the monitoring option, do what you think is best for you. In full disclosure, I'm probably going to switch, even though I don't like it. I feel like they should have to make everybody else whole. That's what the rest of us have to do. If your dog bites your neighbor, you don't get to say, well, I'm only going to pay you $50 and that's just what it is. You don't get to do that. You have to make them whole. Why doesn't Equifax have to do that? I think it's just because the breach is too big. They're too big to fail like everything else, and they just get bailed out and kind of let go. So it kind of sucks, but it's kind of what we have to deal with. So again, I'll probably switch to the credit monitoring, even though I don't want to. Now, from what I've read, and I haven't been able to verify this 100%, but from what I'm able to gather, the extra compensation for the time, so like those extra 10 hours and even more if you can demonstrate it, from what I'm able to gather, that's a different pot of money. Really what people are kind of concerned about running out, at least right now, is the $31 million that is earmarked for the $125 payouts. From what I'm able to gather, the extra time is a different pot of money, and at least so far, nobody's worried about that. But again, that's a finite amount of money, just like the $125 option, so I have a feeling that that will probably run out too. And while Equifax has said they will add money to these funds, should they run out, they're under no obligation to. All in all, guys, if you haven't filed your claim yet, please do so. Again, even if you want to go for the cash option or even just the monitoring option, please file your claim because this is really your only chance. If you don't file a claim, you have no recourse in the future, so you may as well get on the boat and probably just go with the monitoring option, even though I personally believe that's what they counted on all along. But it does have some value. It's not a completely worthless service. Again, it just seems kind of counterintuitive for me to allow the same company that screwed up to do it again. That's all I've got for you this week, guys. That's the update on the Equifax settlement. My question for you guys is, what do you think about this? Do you think it was intentional? Call me a cynic, but I think they had this planned out all along. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know down in the comments. But if you guys have any other comments or questions, please do leave them down below. I try to get to every single one. If you found the video helpful, if you enjoyed my little rant here, leave me a thumbs up. It lets me know that you like my content. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That's all I've got for you this time, guys. See you at the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. Make sure to drop a comment down below and give the video a thumbs up. Here's some other videos that I think you'll really like. Make sure to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future videos, and I'm on Facebook and Twitter as well. See you at the next one.